Well, to discuss the issue of the American drone warfare, we're now joined live by Rubin Pater. He's the creator of the so-called Drone Survival Guide. Thanks for joining us. What exactly moved you to make this survival guide?
Well, I think when you see the amount of drones that have been used and domestically, but also abroad, military, but also for civilian use, I think it's taken a flight in the last few years. And the idea that maybe in the near future our skies will be full of them. I mean, they can have peaceful purposes or non-peaceful, but I mean, if this is the case, and the FAA estimated that in 2020 already 30,000 drones would be over US soil, I think we should learn to, what they look like and what they're capable of.
Just for our audience's sake, I want to explain that it literally looks like a dictionary. There's dozens of drones, pictures of them, and you basically point out which ones are specifically dangerous, which ones you can kind of ignore. Do you actually expect it to help those in the regions of Yemen and Pakistan where civilians are dying in great numbers from these drones?
Well, I mean, the idea that you can be safe from a drone using something simple as a survival guide that I made, which is based on public information, is of course absurd. I mean, at first it's an art project to inform people, because I think the first step towards a better legislation and better oversight on the use of drones is creating awareness. But there are some things in the guide that are definitely, I think, helpful. So people that really know what kind of sensors a lot of these drones use and how they work, that they cannot fly under certain conditions, how their cameras operate. And I mean, but the idea that this will keep you safe from drones is not the goal of the guide.
So it's about awareness. Earlier this year, leading human rights groups published reports revealing the much higher number of civilian casualties than the U.S. officially admits. Do you think there's a real chance that your survival guide could affect legislation and policy?
Well, I think it's very naive to think that something so small as, I'm an artist, I'm a designer that made a small contribution to the debate can do anything. I think a lot of people are doing a really great work on that area. There are some really interesting websites where they are monitoring all the strikes, all the civilian casualties. I think in the end that has much more effect. But I think generally you see, especially in the US, there's a lot more discussion and there's a lot more critique, even from Congress. So I hope that, that with a lot of technology, you see this, that in the beginning people don't really know how to respond to it. And I think now, I hope that we can go into a direction where critique is possible and we can work together into better legislation and oversight.
Well, we've certainly seen watchdogs develop over time for nuclear and chemical weapons. Perhaps we could see the same thing in the future for unmanned systems. Do you have any hopes in that?
Well, yeah, I mean, personally, I'm against any kind of violence against people. So, if it's manned or unmanned, I'm against that. But if you talk about oversight, because I think it's necessary, because there's a lot of really good reasons to use drones, really like rescue missions, environmental protection. I think it's the idea that drones are bad. I think we should avoid this. But when you talk about weaponized systems, I think we have to be really careful, because I think the danger is not just because in the end it's basically the same as a helicopter or a jet fighter, but I think the idea can be that we can have this kind of permanent war where they can be deployed everywhere, no matter if there's war or not, and I think that's a very scary idea.
Rubin Pater, designer and creator of the Drone Survival Guide. Thank you so much for your time here on RT.